What's going on, everybody? Evan here with Evan's Detailing and Polishing. A big old fat used buff in front of me. Why? Drum roll, please. Because we're here to talk about when to rake. I get asked this question a lot. Everybody always wants to know, when is the proper time to rake? Am I raking too much? Am I raking too little? It's all up to you people. Honestly, at the end of the day, the only thing I can always say is, especially on color buffs, yellows, whites, stuff like that, you want to keep them as clean as possible. Don't cross-contaminate them. And this is really hard to see. You see all that right there? All that up there, it's nice and soft and fuzzy. That's how it should be. It should be nice and soft. If it's crispy and crunchy and if you rub your hand across it, it feels like it's gonna cut you, rake it. It needs to be raked. If it's nice and soft, don't rake it. Why are you raking every pass? That's all I wanna know. I watched a guy the other day, buff, and literally every pass he went across, he raked it. Honestly, I wanted to ask that guy why. I have no idea. His compound line was great. It was nice and wet. He was flowing across it really good. I have no idea why he was raking every pass. It absolutely made no sense to me. I mean, there's got to be some kind of reason, but I guess I'll just never know. I'll reach out to that guy maybe sometime soon and ask him. But if your buff looks like this, nice and soft, you're good to go. Throw a little compound on there, keep going. As soon as your compound line runs out, put a little more on and keep right on rolling. As long as this thing doesn't get crispy, you're good to go. I hope you guys can see this in this video, but if you can't, it's just testing it out and trying it yourself. Eventually, you're gonna figure it out and you're gonna find out on your own exactly what I'm talking about. You're gonna grab your buff, you're gonna feel it, and it's gonna feel stiff. Now, if you grab your cut buff and you feel it, your cut buff should always feel stiff. Now, if it feels crispy, that's a different story. There's a difference between stiff and crispy. Stiff and crispy. That just doesn't sound right. But nonetheless, once you see it and feel it, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Your buff should always be stiff on a cut, and your color should always be soft and flimsy. If your color is stiff, you're not going to be coloring properly the way you want it. So, on my cut buffs, I don't ever rake my cut buffs. All I'm doing if I'm raking out my cut buffs is just softening the buff. I do not want to soften my cut. My cut is there for a job. It's there to cut as fast as possible, as hard as possible, and get the job accomplished. Because you know what? One thing I'm short on? Time. And you know what nobody's ever offered to sell me? Time. I can't buy time. But I can buy a better buff, and I can buy a stiffer buff, and I can cut faster, and I can color faster, and that's almost like buying time. So think about that next time you're cutting. The people that are using really super soft buffs to cut and color, I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm saying you're doing it just fine. If you're getting the finish you want, don't change anything. But if you're watching this video, it means you're trying to learn something, and I appreciate that. Now, not everything I say is going to be 100% perfect in your world. It's just what works for me and what works here at our shop, Time to Shine Compound. I hope these things are helpful. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Drop me some comments below on some of the videos that you'd like to see or some of the questions you'd like to see answered, and I'll try to get some of these answered as much as possible. We're going to try and update our YouTube channel a lot more often, try to get a lot more content out there. And if you guys send me some good questions, I'll try and get yours answered, and maybe you'll even get a shout out. Hit me up, of course, click that little button down there and subscribe, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. All the products we have here are available on GoShineOn.com/shop. I appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, it's time to shine.